The thermometer showed minus 40 degrees Celsius. Snow whipped across the frozen Karelian Isthmus, covering the thick forests and turning the landscape into a deadly trap. Here, in the heart of a Finnish winter, one of the most uneven battles in modern history was taking place. On one side stood the Soviet Union, a seemingly unstoppable giant with nearly 500,000 soldiers, tanks, and control of the skies. On the other side was Finland, a nation of just 4 million people, outnumbered and outgunned. Few believed the Finns had a chance to win. Even fewer expected how disastrous the war would be for Stalin's powerful Red Army. This was the Winter War of 1939 and 1940, where the brutal Finnish winter, along with creativity, determination, and guerrilla tactics, humiliated one of the largest armies in the world. The Soviet invasion started on November 30, 1939, under the misleading claim of territorial disputes. Stalin's plan appeared straightforward: crush the Finns with sheer force and take control of important areas along the Soviet border. But Stalin underestimated two things: the environment and the Finnish spirit. Finnish soldiers, many of them hunters, loggers, and farmers, were intimately familiar with their frozen homeland and employed it as their greatest weapon. The first challenge for the Red Army was the harsh terrain. Finnish forests, filled with narrow, icy roads, created a logistical nightmare. Soviet tanks became useless, stuck in the deep snow and unable to move. Finnish guerrillas took advantage of this situation, using a classic divide-and-conquer strategy. Equipped with skis, white camouflage to blend into the snowy landscape, and a supply of Molotov cocktails, Finnish ski troops became a nightmare on the battlefield. They would wait for Soviet supply lines to weaken, then attack with precise strikes. These well-coordinated ambushes often isolated Soviet units, leaving them disoriented and exposed. Mahti tactics, as they were called, named after the Finnish word for a bundle of firewood, became the hallmark of Finland's strategy. By surrounding smaller Soviet units, cutting them off from reinforcements, and breaking them down piece by piece, Finnish forces turned the Soviets' numerical advantage into a weakness. Then there was the cold, a killer more ruthless than any sniper. Soviet soldiers, poorly equipped and rushed into battle, suffered from frostbite, starvation, and falling morale. By contrast, Finnish troops were prepared for life in the extreme cold. Their tents were insulated, their clothing layered with animal skins, and their movements swift. Humble campfires often accompanied boiling cups of hot blueberry soup, providing warmth and sustenance that Soviet frontline forces could only dream of. One Finnish sniper, Simo Häyhä, would become a living nightmare for the Soviet troops. Nicknamed the White Death, Häyhä was credited with over 500 kills, often using an iron-sighted rifle that betrayed no glare in the sunlight. Operating from behind snowbanks and using natural camouflage, Häyhä represented the lethal effectiveness of Finnish resistance. As time passed, Soviet frustrations increased. They responded with heavy artillery fire and air attacks, but their efforts often resulted in little more than wasted ammunition. Finnish lines were always changing as mobile ski troops vanished into the woods, only to reappear where the Soviets least expected them. When battles shifted to brutal close-quarter combat, the Finns used their creativity, repurposing Molotov cocktails, glass bottles filled with flammable liquids. Named as a jab at Soviet Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov, they were as fiery as the chaos they created. But perhaps the greatest victory of Finnish resistance wasn't their superior tactics, it was their morale. Facing a superpower, most nations would have surrendered. The Finnish government, however, never considered surrender. Civilians joined the effort to strengthen frontline defenses, and propaganda posters featured slogans like "We fight on." Every Finn, man or woman, saw themselves as a protector of their homeland against Stalin's imperialist goals. By February 1940, however, cracks started to show in Finland's defenses. Exhausted and low on ammunition, Finnish troops found it hard to hold back the Soviet onslaught. Stalin, hurt by the humiliation, redirected new resources to the battlefield, giving up his belief in a quick victory. Intense fighting engulfed the isthmus near the important city of Viipuri, as Finnish forces stood firm against wave after wave of Soviet attacks. Finally, on March 13, 1940, Finland and the Soviet Union signed the Moscow Peace Treaty. Finland gave up 11% of its territory but remained an independent nation, an outcome that surprised many considering the overwhelming odds they had faced. Although Finland suffered significant losses, with over 70,000 casualties, the Soviet Union's losses were devastating. Estimates suggest as many as 300,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or missing. The consequences of the Winter War were significant. Stalin learned the hard way that numbers alone do not win wars. For Finland, the conflict became a lasting symbol of national resilience and creativity, a David versus Goliath story etched in history. Finnish guerrilla tactics, especially their use of Modi tactics and ski-based mobility, are still studied in military academies worldwide. But above all, the Winter War was a testament to the unbreakable human spirit. Faced with overwhelming odds, a small nation stood up and made one of the most powerful armies in the world rethink what it meant to fight in modern warfare. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this.